ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀਓ। ਬਿਲਾਵਲ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਪੰਜਵਾ। ਸੋਈ ਮਲੀਨ ਦੀਨ ਹੀਨ, ਜਿਸ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਬਿਸਰਾਨਾ। ਕਰਨੇ ਹਾਰ ਨਾ ਬੂਝਈ, ਆਪ ਗਨੈ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ। ਸੋਈ ਮਲੀਨ ਦੀਨ ਹੀਨ, ਜਿਸ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਬਿਸਰਾਨਾ। ਕਰਨੇ ਹਾਰ ਨਾ ਬੂਝਈ, ਆਪ ਗਨੈ ਬਿਗਾਨਾ। ਦੁਖ ਤਦੇ ਜਦ ਵਿਸਰੈ, ਸੁਖ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਚਿਤ ਆਏ। ਸੰਤਨ ਕੈ ਆਨੰਦ ਇਹੋ, ਨਿਤ ਹਰ ਗੁਣ ਗਾਏ ਰਹਾਉ। ਊਚੇ ਤੇ ਨੀਚਾ ਕਰੇ ਨੀਚ, ਖਿਨ ਮਹਿ ਥਾਪੈ। ਕੀਮਤ ਕਹੀ ਨਾ ਜਾਈਐ, ਠਾਕੁਰ ਪਰਤਾਪੈ। ਪੇਖਤ ਲੀਲਾ ਰੰਗ ਰੂਪ, ਚਲਣੇ ਦਿਨ ਆਇਆ। ਸੁਪਨੇ ਕਾ ਸੁਪਨਾ ਭਇਆ, ਸੰਗ ਚੱਲਿਆ ਕਮਾਇਆ। ਕਰਨ ਕਾਰਣ ਸਮਰੱਥ, ਪ੍ਰਭ ਤੇਰੀ ਸ਼ਰਨਾਈ। ਹਰ ਦਿਨ ਸਰੈਣ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਪੈ, ਸਦ ਸਦ ਬਲ ਜਾਈ। ਕਰਨ ਕਾਰਣ ਸਮਰੱਥ, ਪ੍ਰਭ ਤੇਰੀ ਸ਼ਰਨਾਈ। ਹਰ ਦਿਨ ਸਰੈਣ ਨਾਨਕ ਜਪੈ, ਸਦ ਸਦ ਬਲ ਜਾਈ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, today's ਪਾਵਨ ਪਵਿੱਤਰ ਹੁਕਮਨਾਮਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ from Sachkhand Sri Harmandir Sahib is on Ang 813. In this Sri Hukamnama Sahib, given to us by Guru Arjun Dev Ji in Bilawal Rag. Guru Arjun Dev Ji, they start and they say to us in the first Pangati, Soi Maleen. It says, Soi, those, that who are those? Guru Arjun Dev Ji saying Maleen. Maleen means, comes from the word mal. Mal means dirty, filthy. Guru Sahib Ji saying Soi Maleen. It's those that are filthy, and this doesn't mean physically, it's talking about where the mind is concerned. So those whose minds are full of dirt, soi maleen. And then Sadhguru Ji say deen. Deen, often in Gurbani, I would say more or less, about 99% of the time in Gurbani, the word deen, it's translated to meek, but over here deen will be translated to poor, and not poor in the sense of poverty. Those that have got really poor actions, that, you know, like when we say to someone that they're acting really poorly, like a child. So in that way, somebody whose ways are really poor, Sadhguru Ji saying, and then they say heen. Heen means low. Somebody's actions are very lowly. So this is here, Guru Sahib Ji used 3 different words to describe somebody that whose mind is filthy, whose actions are poor, and whose actions are very lowly. They say who will end up like that in their life. They say Jis prabh bisarana, those that actually forget Vaheguru Ji. Those that actually forget that we cannot escape Vaheguru Ji, that Vaheguru Ji is watching every moment, and forgetting Vaheguru Ji is like this. Is like if we're actually, like, imagine a child and they were very mischievous. So they go into their bedroom and they start doing something they're not meant to be doing. So it could be a toy that their parents have told them to not to touch and not to play with until whenever, because we're saving that till a later time yet. So, and that child sneaks in, and that child thinks that, well, it's okay, nobody's watching me doing this, so I might as well carry on. And then, but little does that child know that their mother has followed them up and is watching them. But the child thinks that nobody's watching me. The child's forgot about the mother is even exists in this moment. And then that child carries on with everything, but the mother sees everything. And then there's going to be consequences for that child. So then after this, the mother actually pulls the child up and says, you think I don't know? You think I didn't see what you was doing? I know exactly what you've done, and I know exactly what you've been doing. And then there's consequences for that child, and whether it be whatever steps a parent takes. For some, it's however old they are, depending on their age, they have to sit on a step for that long, or they take away something that's really dear to them for a few days. But there's always a consequences. So I always say this, that where examples are concerned, there's never perfect examples, because we know obviously where a child is concerned, there could be a time where they are able to do something where no one physically, their parents or someone isn't watching. But when we're using examples, so just taking that example into account, that if the parent is watching and the kid thinks that nobody's watching me, I'm getting away with this, it's in that same situation here. Sadhguru Ji say that those that forget that there's a creator, that there's a sustainer, those that forget that there's a destroyer, those that forget there's somebody else in control that has made all the laws of creation. And Sadhguru Ji say to us, they tell us in Gurbani, that whether somebody within their own mind, whether they say they believe in God or whether they say they don't believe in God, it makes no difference, because the truth is that Sadhguru Ji say that hukm hai andar sab ko bahar hukm na koi. And this is something that we can all relate to, because most people actually read Japji Sahib, so they will be familiar with these words. Sadhguru Ji saying hukm hai andar, within those divine laws of the creator, hukm hai andar, and everyone, sabko, everyone is within those laws. Hukm hai andar sabko. Or the other way is where Sadhguru Ji saying sabko, it means that they apply to everyone. Sabko meaning all the laws of nature and creation, they apply to everyone. Hukm hai andar sabko, bahar hukm na koi. There's no one exempt from those rules. Nobody's outside of those rules of Vaheguru Ji's laws. So what they don't realize is, if they actually was conscious about this, that there's going to be a consequences for every action that I'm doing is going to affect me, and having that realization that one is within everything, and my actions have a ripple effect, and they will affect other people as well. They will bring pain and misery to other people as well, what I'm doing. But if they kept in mind that there is a creator, and there is consequences, and there is pain that is coming to others, and if their hearts were filled with the quality of Vaheguru Ji, which is compassion, that actually thought about what is happening to others by their actions. Because many of times, if we even speak, so let's take Maleen, let's say that somebody's mind is full of filth. Let's say that filth could be hatred and jealousy. And then deen, meaning the act that we do from the mind being filled with that, could be very poor, heen, very lowly. One lowly act could be the way we actually speak to someone, speaking to somebody very abruptly, speaking to somebody and not being mindful of the words that we use. And that, if we kept Vaheguru Ji in mind, then we would only come from a sweet place. But forgetting Vaheguru Ji isn't seeing that the reflection of Vaheguru is within them as well. That way there's no care for what effect my words will have on them. So even if my words destroy them completely, it breaks their heart and it puts them in a really hurtful place, and it could even affect their life. We all know that just the words that somebody speaks to someone can have such an effect that relationships are affected over them. We all know situations, we would know within our families as well. They'll say, "Oh, 20 saal nahi bole aaps vich do pra." They'll say it's been 20 years when these two brothers have not spoke to each other. Why? Kende gal ki hui si? Kende bas onne inni gal onu kahi sigi. He said all that happened was he said these few words to them, and it's like since then they've not spoke. But that's why Satguru Ji say that those that forget Vaheguru Ji, they're not going to be concerned for the way they are speaking. So this is now very important to understand, because there are many people that claim that I believe in God. That's why I always say this believing in God is not enough, because for us it's the tools. Satguru Ji provides us with tools where we from those tools come to a place of experience and realization, and we start to see the reflection of Vaheguru Ji. Forgetting Vaheguru Ji means is not realizing that Vaheguru Ji is within everything and being and living consciously, and they will then speak such words that will completely destroy someone. That's why Satguru Ji say to us in those times, it's better that you remain silent, that even if there is something within your mind, but have that self-control of not bringing it upon your tongue. If it's not gonna actually create, and it's not gonna solve any solutions, it's not gonna be a solution, it's not gonna solve any issues, and then it's only to actually bring somebody down. It might be the truth. We might be speaking the truth, but it doesn't mean necessarily just because we spoke to the truth to someone that it still might not be destructive. It might still not be constructive at all. So that's why Satguru Ji say to us that in those times it's better that instead this is Virnave Mohe Gand. They said if you haven't got the name of God, meaning the name of God also means if you haven't got that sweetness inside of you, then Virnave Mohe Gand, then all that's gonna come out of your mouth is absolute gand. So they said in that instance, isn't it better that Chuppe Changa Nanaka? How many times does this happen? A marriage breaks within a relationship just because of the way we have spoke to someone. And we've said certain words to them. Those words might have been the truth, but Guru Sahib is saying, Chuppe Changa Nanaka. They're saying that wouldn't it have been better for that time if you remained quiet, that Virnave Mohe Ganda, because it didn't come from a place of God's qualities. Virnave, Nave also means the name that we meditate on, also means the name that we recite. So don't think that I'm doing an arth, I'm translating it in a way where we don't actually do recitation of the Guru's mantra. But also Nave, Naam also means that when we actually take on God's qualities, because for example, if we've got sweetness inside, that sweetness is a part of what God is made up of. So sweet, being sweet, is actually a name of God. So when we speak sweetly, we're practicing God's name. So then Virnave Mohe Gand, this is, but if you haven't got Naam upon your tongue, if you haven't got sweetness upon your tongue, then Virnave Mohe Gand, that's actually filth coming out your mouth. Just like Satguru Ji said here, Soi Maleen, that who's maleen from inside, who's filthy from inside you, your words will be filthy as well. So like I said, sometimes we might be speaking the truth, but it's coming from such a bitter place that we want to completely destroy someone and bring pain to them. It might be what happens in relationships is sometimes we end up bringing things up from the past, but that past doesn't even matter anymore. Something beautiful Krishna ji said, when the Panch Pandavas took, it was the two families that had this huge battle in the Dwapar Yuga, in the era, in the age before this of Kal Yuga, and when after this huge battle, when the Pandavas won, when the one family actually won the battle, and who were very righteous brothers that actually got to rule, but they started to dwell, they started to think about, but what about what but look what's happened. We've got this rule over the dead bodies of such great beings like great Mahapurkhs like Bhisham, our great grandfather, and even our own teacher, our Guru Vidya Guru that taught us Shastra Vidya, taught us about Dharam, taught us about all the Shastras as well, the scriptures. And they said even over the dead body of them, because they were destroyed in the battle, they were on the opposite side. And Krishna ji said something beautiful here. Krishna ji said, who was the avatar of that era, they said, listen, they said to the Pandavas, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਿਛਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੇਖ ਕੇ ਤੁਰੋਗੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਅੜਕੋਗੇ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਡਿੱਗੋਗੇ. Krishna ji said, if you think about this logically, they said, turn back and start walking. They said, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਕੁਝ ਦਿਸਣਾ ਮੋਰੇ ਕੀ ਆ. This is, if you turn back and start walking, you're not going to see what's ahead of you. You're bound to trip over and fall. They said, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ don't bring the past up. You can learn from your past, but if you get stuck in your past, if you can't get over your past, even though that past now is not relevant, you can reflect on it and learn from it. But if you can't let go of it because of your own attachments, then because of your own pride, then it's only going to cause obstacles in your life, and you're not going to be able to walk forward because of what possessiveness, to say, but you're mine, why did you end up doing this? It could be, I spoke about this yesterday, somebody may have cheated on someone in the past. Anything could have happened. It's something somebody said to someone in the past. Whatever it was that happened, somebody was hurtful to someone with their words. But if we don't let go of that, and what happens is, and sometimes that starts welling up in somebody's mind, what's happened in the past between even a relationship and marriage, and what they do is, that filth that is in the mind of thinking about something that is not relevant to today anymore in their relationship, then they end up bringing it upon their tongue. And that filth comes out, then Sadhguruji says, you're not now speaking from Naam, you're not speaking from a sweet place anymore, you've not got good intentions anymore, you're not trying to solve a situation anymore, you're not trying to bring comfort, or you're not trying to actually help this person break some of the layers of their ego. You're actually being really spiteful and trying to hurt them. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਨਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੁਭਮੀ ਜੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ. ਚੁਭਮੀ ਗੱਲ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ when you're spiteful, ਚੁਭਮੀ means, you know, when you get a little a pin or something and you get this something really sharp and you poke them, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਗੱਲ ਏਦਾਂ ਚੁਭਮੀ ਕਰ ਗਿਆ ਹੋ. So some people have got a way of speaking, and that's why there's many arths to Gurbani. And if we look at this arth, we look at this translation in Japji Sahib, Satguruji say to us, they say that asankh gal vad hathya kamahe. So Satguruji Guru Nanak Dev Ji say to us that asankh gal vad. We read these words every day, but we don't always be conscious to them. If we look at the literal meaning, it means to cut somebody's throat, literally, galavad. Those that actually commit such crimes in their life, that where they're actually slitting the throats of other people. And these are talking about the murderers and the killers within the society. But another amazing arth to this is, kindeya gal here, not translating it to gala. Gal here, translating it to the words that we say, you know, so as what we speak to someone, gal vad, and what we do is, we've got this habit of cutting people with our words, the way we speak to someone. Gal vad ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਾਂ ਵੱਢ ਕੇ ਰੱਖ ਦਿੰਨੇ, we cut somebody into pieces, but we're not cutting here the ego, we end up cutting their heart, we end up cutting their emotions. Gal ਵੱਢ ਹੱਥਿਆ ਕਮਾਹੇ, ਅਸੰਖ ਪਾਪੀ ਪਾਪ ਕਰ ਜਾਹੇ. And Satguru Ji saying that is just another paap, that is just another sin that you just keep doing and going round and round in. Is just the way you're speaking to somebody. So here Paat saying soi maleen deen heen jis prab bisrana. So think about this now. Being conscious of when we forget God is because we don't think about what we're saying to someone, what it could do to someone. Paatshah Ji say to us that hiao na kahi thahe manak sab amol ve. Kende Frida, kende tu ta ek na fikka bol. Kende don't even say one thing that is kende fikka, that is tasteless, that is bitter to someone. Ek fikka na ga laye sabna main sacha tani. Hiao na kahi thahe manak sab amol ve. Satguru Ji Bhagat Farid Ji saying to us, kende ek fikka na ga laye gal. Remember the word gal vad? Don't try and say that I'm gonna be spiteful, I'm gonna kill them with my words. So Sangat Ji, this is that would be forgetting Vaheguru Ji. Forgetting Vaheguru Ji is when we do that, forgetting that there's gonna be a consequences. That let's just go through this pankti now so that I'm not jumping around. So Paatshah Ji Bhagat Farid Ji saying that ek, not even one fikka, tasteless, bitter word that comes from a filthy place. Kande ek fikka na ga laye sabna main sacha taniya. Now the difficult part is sometimes we've got a habit in speaking like this. So then that it's going to take a lot of more hard work to actually get rid of then that habit of speaking like that. Sometimes because there's so much filth stored up in the mind, we're not letting go of so many things of the past, and something that now we keep bringing up again and again. And we'll say things like to people, sometimes maybe somebody's wife, they spoke a certain way to their husband's parents, to their mother-in-law, and then what the husband will do is whenever it kicks off a little bit, because that's stored in his mind and he's not willing to let go of it, what'll happen is he'll keep bringing it up and say, well, you said that to my mama, I ain't gonna forget that. I can't believe, no, you know what you did to my mum and dad, the way you spoke to them, you made me move out from them. You know what, even though I'm here with you, I didn't want to move out. And then because they've not let go, every little argument that happens, they won't be able to help it. Because Paatshah Ji say to us, Jo ji hoye so ugave, that what you really are, jo ji hoye so ugave, it will come out. Muho ka keha vao. They're saying that even though you might be trying to cover up what you're really about, this is that most of the time what you speak is actually wind, meaning that, you know, when we're just saying to somebody, just chatting it, and we're actually saying, you know what, that's not actually you. Why don't you be real and speak? You know, so, but Satguru Ji saying that muh ka kahya vao. It says that it will jo ji hoye but ugbe, that one day that will come out. So the process is to stop speaking in that way to someone. It means cleansing the mind. Cleansing the mind means having to find a way of letting go of certain situations that have happened, and yes, learn from them and progress. Otherwise that bitterness will keep coming out, and when it comes out and we've killed someone with it, hatya kamaya, we've become that murderer in killing someone with it, but not killing their ego, but actually their heart, their hirda. And then we've actually, Paatshah Ji saying that ek fikka na galai sabna mein sacha tani. Tani means husband. The husband Lord is within everyone. So this is how we forget Vaheguru, because often we just say these words, oh, have you forgot Vaheguru? But we don't even know what we're saying. We're saying we don't really, it's within our actions forgetting Vaheguru Ji. So let's remember Vaheguru Ji. Let's remember Vaheguru Ji. I remember remembering Vaheguru Ji doesn't only mean to just keep sitting there and saying Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru. And this isn't me speaking against and saying that's not a part of our dharam, part of our Sikhi. Because Sangat Ji, sitting here, even my goal, my aim myself is to be saying our Gur Mantra Saas Kras with every breath. But I know at the same time that even though Satguru Ji, Guru Arjun Dev Ji have told us that Sagal Dharmam hai Sreshta Dharma, that out of all the ways of all the different ways that we've got, there isn't to say there isn't other ways to get to God, because there are other paths other than doing a jap of a mantra, but there are other paths as well. But we've got to remember, if we're only doing it, I've said this before, mechanically, we're not conscious to actually doing it with love, with prem, and feeling and having that faith within our mind, the presence of Vaheguru Ji, then the truth is that Satguru Ji saying Sarb Dharma mein Sreshta Dharm har ko naam jap nirmal karam. They say, how do you know that you're actually consciously saying the name of God? They said, because it will make your karam, your ways will become nirmal, will become without mal. So then that's how we know. So mechanically, just reciting, our words might stay the same, our frustrations, everything. That's why there's a formula of how to jap. Just japping unconsciously, we still might not bring God upon our tongue when we speak. So we've got to remain conscious throughout the day. Set yourself a task today. See throughout the day that how many times have I spoke to somebody a bit bitterly? How many times have I just said something to someone within my household and I actually said it without thinking, and I could have worded that better, and I could have been more delicate and sweet with my words and being more careful? Because if I wasn't, I've just forgot God. I've forgotten Vaheguru Ji. You could be saying Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Vaheguru. That doesn't mean you're remembering Vaheguru Ji. Being in the remembrance of Vaheguru Ji is a very high avastha. So that's the child's play. That is where a little kid starts from, and a kid could be a 50-year-old in their journey of Paramarat, of journey of Sikhi. So that is just the first step. So now we've all understood what it means to forget Vaheguru Ji. And I today have used the example of mind being full of not letting go of the past and being frustrated and keeping that hatred in your mind for what's happened, and then letting it come out with your words and then destroying somebody's heart with it. And Bhagavad Friji saying that you've just destroyed Vaheguru Ji. Even though Vaheguru Ji can't be destroyed, but they're saying that is what it means by that is that you've come away from Vaheguru Ji and you have forgotten Vaheguru Ji. Karne har na bujai, because we've forgotten that there's somebody else, that there is a doer. Karne har na bujai, we've not understood that. So we then blindly just carry out these actions, not thinking, not realizing that my mother, Vaheguru Ji, is watching and there's going to be consequences for what I've just done. So aap gane begana, that Satguru Ji Paat Ji saying that aap gane, that what he thinks is that I am everything. Everything is under my control. Begana means that gyata, this person that thinks they know everything, but Paat Ji saying actually you are a begana, meaning you are foolish. You haven't got a clue what you're doing. So they're saying that person, they think they know what they're doing, but they're actually foolish. Dukh tade, this is, but dukh, suffering is only then jad visre, when we forget Vaheguru Ji. Now we've used one example to understand what it means to forget Vaheguru Ji. So keep that in mind now and practice that throughout the day now. Be mindful of the way you speak and where it's coming from. Practice it for today. Be conscious, and you realize how difficult it actually is. How we just speak compulsively without even thinking. Sukh prabh chit aaye. This says only sukh, true happiness will only come and reside within us then when we actually remember Vaheguru Ji. This says santan ka anand eho, They're saying that the saints of Vaheguru Ji, they live in this constant bliss, nit har gun gaye, because they are constantly in the praise of Vaheguru Ji. When we speak sweetly to somebody, we're actually praising Vaheguru Ji, because Vaheguru Ji is in everybody's heart. Just like Bhagat Free Ji told us in those panktiyan that we looked at before. Rahao, kende bisram leke, kende contemplate this. So we're going to contemplate this throughout the whole day today. Uche te nicha kare. Don't be full of pride in your life, and always keep in mind that at the moment, uche te, that you might be ucha in your own way, that you might be in what you deem to be in a high place, but always remember there's somebody else, there's a karne har that is in control, that will bring us down straight away. And the one example we can look at for this is that we could be practicing righteousness, we could be practicing a taram. So for example, if we are full of pride and thinking, I'm so righteous, oh wow, look at, that I'm so good, I'm a vegetarian, and I can't believe, oh, look at you eat meat. And we start to bring these judgments on other people full of pride, when actually, even though I'm a vegetarian, I might be eating food that is so bad for this mandir, for this shrine, for this body of mine, and I'm actually eating foods, even though it's vegetarian, that make me so lethargic. That, remember that Satguru Ji say to us that har mandir eo sareer hai, gyan ratan pargat hoye. They say that this body is like a mandir, but we treat it like it's a bin. We throw such type of food in there, but then we just hold this pride of, I'm vegetarian. And then what we do is we look down at somebody else. And even Sadhguru Ji Paat Ji say to us in Gurbani that actually this is that mas kar murkh chagde gyan dhyan nahi jana hai. They say you fight over what is mas, what is meat, what is flesh, what is that. They're saying, and then but you haven't even realized, you've actually got no gyan, you've got no self-realization inside, you haven't got that true knowledge of the way everything works. Then Satguru Ji in this same Shabad later on, they say, they even go to Sadhguru Ji say to us, they say that you actually you hold your nose and you do all of these things just because of the smell of flesh. And then what is that? I'm not saying to somebody here that we shouldn't be practicing that type of diet. I'm talking about somebody that says this is my faith, and because of their faith they end up with pride and they become in their head so uche just because of the practices that they are doing in their life. And then Satguru Ji is saying, don't ever forget that uche te nicha kare, that in an instant, you being right up there, that you could be dragged right down. Those that are doing something in pride, just like I've explained in many kathas, Bhagat Free Ji they say Kabir garb na kijiye, don't have pride even if you're practicing something good. Once you've got pride and you're looking down at someone else, that they look at me, look at the way I've got my case and I can't believe you haven't. I do this, I read Path and I can't believe you don't. I read Gurbani and you don't. I get up Amrit Vele and you don't. We might not actually say it like that, but it's in our mind, and we might not even be so conscious of it, but it's kind of starting to creep up on us, and it will come up in little ways. So we'll say to people, oh, what time do you get up? Oh, acha. Oh, you get up at 7, do you? All right. It's not very good, is it? But what we want to say is we actually want to tell them, look, I get up at 4, And it's kicking in now, this pride. Uche. Satguru is saying, look, be careful. Garib rankana hasiye koe. This is, don't look down at anyone else, even though the literal here is saying hasiye, meaning laughing. Rank means somebody that is poor, but looking at somebody poor in qualities here. Saying Kabir rankana hasiye koi. And then they say that kya kende ajaho so nao samundar mein kya jana kya hoya. I use this very often. I think I used it in maybe only yesterday or the day before in Hukamnama as well. But it's so relevant. They say Ajo so nau samundar mein. Nau is a Hindi word for boat. This is, I'm still in the boat, meaning I've still got breath in this body. I'm still in the samundar. I'm still amongst all this people and this world. They say, you don't know what's going to happen to you. Kya jana kya hoye. How many times has this happened to someone? That one day you judged someone and you looked down at them. Say, how disgusting are you? I can't believe you still look at girls being a sec. Oh, you're disgusting. And then next thing you know is, because you had that feeling of, oh, I don't look at girls, I'm so good. Next thing you know is you've been dragged down. And don't put this blame on Vaheguru Ji. And it's our own pride that has brought us down. It's our own uche akkad, being there, me, that's brought us down, because it's a niyam. It's a way of Vaheguru Ji's system. That's in that way Vaheguru Ji does it. But we've got to still take responsibility. And then we're sat there thinking, oh my God, I can't believe I haven't got that ras anymore. I don't feel that juice in Simran anymore. And it's because we judged someone else and we looked down at them, and then we've been brought right down. Satguru Ji saying, but on the other side, so, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Live in humility. Neeme hoke apa jiye. Let's live in that humbleness all the time. Because ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਾਲੂ ਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ. ਦੇਖੇ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਇਹ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਹਾਵਤਾਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ ਨਾ, ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਮਹੱਤਵਵਾਨ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ. And these Punjabi kahavta, these Punjabi sayings held so much truths, and they related to Gurbani. But today, in today's society, we don't really have these sayings anymore. And a lot of these sayings were so great. So I grew up with parents saying these things to us. Kende kal da nahi pada kake, tum chup karke neema hoke reh. They'd say that, look, come down a step. Yeah, where are you flying? They says you don't know about tomorrow. So now it's about reinforcing these galla into us. What's happened today is we don't understand Gurbani. We just do our Nityanim as a ritual. So then these teachings aren't going into us. We're losing that Punjabi sayings that we had as well. So that Sikhi, we're getting further and further away from them. So Bhaji is saying that Uche te nicha karaya, that person that is flying up in the skies one day, remember you could be dragged down, but then the beautiful side of it is saying Nich kin meh thapa. This is, and don't forget, the one that is at the moment might be carrying out lowly actions. This is kinme, but within an instant, they could be established and they could be made into a king. They could be put right up there, meaning that that same person that you were saying, la, look at him, he's just a pervert. Look at him, he's just like this, or she's like that. Look at the way she speaks. Look at the way her words are full of bitterness. Look at me. You know, mainu bolan da chaj aay not to speak, but she speaks like she's always got this anger in her. She's always got this bitterness. And the moment, Sangat Ji, Guru Sahib Ji saying, it can take an instant. The moment that person comes into humility, that person now becomes neech. Their actions might be lowly, but the moment they become lowly from inside, there's a niyam. Apas ko jo jane nicha. Mere Sadhguru Ji kende, those that think that, oh my God, you know what? I do speak bitterly. Oh my God, you know what? My actions are so low. The moment you come there, you might be righteous, your actions might be high, but once you go high inside, as in pride high, you'll come right down. But Sangat Ji, Sadhguru Ji, Pacha Ji saying, but if you become low from inside, even though you've got low actions, Apas ko jo jane nicha so ganiye sabte ucha. Sadhguru Ji saying, in my eyes you are the highest, meaning I will take you right up there. The moment you say that, mere karam bade neeme ne, my actions are so low, Sadhguru Ji saying, neech khin meh thape. That person that was speaking so bitterly, that you was judging, now that same person, they've only got but sweetness upon their tongue. They are just full of juice from inside now, because it takes an instant. Sangat ji, this also means, which we're not going to go into today, the arth to this can also mean somebody that is so low in society, in the eyes of others, where their caste is concerned. Satguru Ji lifts them and makes them the highest of highest, like Bhagat Ravidas Ji. That Bhagat Ravidas Ji saying that you are such that kahun te na dare, you're not afraid of anyone. Neech hai ooch kare mera Gobind. You take those that are low and you make them so high. Those that are low from inside, Satguru Ji makes them the highest. So, Jiddan, Sangat Ji, I'm in a bit of I'm having a bit of a moment, because there's many things that I learn in Katha. There's many things that I've not heard before that have just come out. So that's, for me, it's just been a big lesson. So I thank Satguru Ji, Guru Granth Sahib Ji, Badshah Ji, to give me so much lessons through sitting here, that somebody's actions might be very high righteous, but once their pride meets up with them, they'll come tumbling down. Just like Badshah Ji said, Uche te nicha kare. Who might have lowly actions, negative actions, but once their mind comes there into nimrta, into humility, Satguru Ji will lift them up. This is how amazing Vaheguru Ji is. Guru Nanak Dev Ji did this for many. They did this for Gauda Raksh, a cannibal that ate human beings, that thought that he's got no hope in life. Somebody that had been outcasted from society. But that moment when he saw that glitter of compassion in Guru Nanak Dev Ji's akkhan, wo neema ho gaya. He became so low from inside. I said, what am I doing with my life? Guru Nanak Dev Ji made him the highest. He made him into a sant that helped other people get back into society. He helped people reform. Our Guru does not punish. I was saying to my son the other day, I go, nah bete, I go, we don't believe in punishment. We believe in reforming. I go, even if whatever we have to do from inside, we are thinking about reforming, not punishing. कीमत कहीं ना जाइए, Thakur Pratape, the glory of Vaheguru Ji cannot be said, the value. Pekhat Leela Rang Roop, Badshah Ji saying, remain in humility, because all this Leela, this show, Rang, the colours of life that you are looking at, Kandire Chalane Din Aya, that day that we're going to have to leave from this world is going to come. Death is going to come. Let's beg Guru Sahib Ji for that humility today, because if we go with that pride, we're in trouble leaving this world like that. Then we definitely have no control of what type of body we're going to end up in. Supane ka supana paya, they're saying that dream will actually become a dream. You know what that means is we are told that this life is just like a dream. Satguru Ji say that. There's so many pankti, I'm not going to go into it now, we ain't got time. And Supne ka supna paya, they're saying that we're told that this is a dream. They're saying, but you know, when you actually leave this world and you die, then it'll actually become a dream. You'll think, oh my God, that was just like a dream. I was so entangled in my family and everything else and in my pride that's it, it's gone. I've woke up now. Dying is actually waking up from the dream of this life. Sang chalya kamaya. Remember, the only thing that is going to go with you is the actions that you have earned, the good and the bad, the lowly and the high. They are going to become our driving force to where it takes us, to our next life. Karan Karan Samrath. They saying, remember that one that is the cause of all causes is the most powerful one that we have no control over. Prabh Teri Sharanai, I just want to come into your sanctuary. Har din saran Nanak Guru Arjun Dev Ji Pach Singh that Har He Vaheguru Ji Din Saran day and night Sad Sad Balajai that I am a sacrifice to you Vaheguru Ji. So इतनियां बेनतियां प्रवान एक नहीं पर अनेक कहीं गलतियां हो गई हैं अनजान बच्चा समझ के बख्श दियो. So many every day I sit here thinking I'm not going to spend more than 20 minutes, but I've learned so much today. Thank you Guru Arjan Dev Ji, and please actually give me the samat that I'm actually able to get to that place when I don't look down at anyone, because I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.